All right, I want to welcome everyone tonight. We're going to be having the Rocksteady Rhinos versus the Coalition Brutalum. We're going to have some good matchup here. These teams have met each other like quite a few times. We're going to have really some key players from both teams. On Rhino, we're going to have Greg, Barris, Ed, Jeff, and Matthew. For Coalition, we have Glenn, Bryce, DJ, Demir, and Jill. It's going to be a tough team. We're going to be on the Volcano circuit. Now, the Volcano circuit has a pretty big climb, a couple kilometers from the end. Then it's going to have the descent, and it's going to have the flat after the descent. So you can see like everybody's just getting started here. Kind of the whole group is staying together and kind of getting off to kind of a slow start here at the very beginning. So I've skipped ahead a couple of kilometers here. For the first couple of kilometers, this route is pretty flat. The group is staying together like quite a bit. No one's really making a push. Like everyone's kind of staying together. Nobody's getting dropped here. The pace is not really too aggressive, and everyone's just kind of staying together, like kind of waiting to see who's going to make a move. So I'm speeding things up here a little bit so we can kind of get out a little bit to see when we're first going to make a move. And you're going to see as they kind of get through the tunnel, you're going to see Barris is going to make the first move here, and so he's going to kind of make a move out. And so you see Barris taking off here a little bit, and a couple of the Coalition riders looks like Kelly and Peterson are going to kind of follow after him. That's going to sort of force the Rhinos to kind of catch up, and you see out there. One of the Rhinos is out there with them, and then Ed is like pushing pretty hard to catch up with them. He doesn't want it to be 2 versus 1 out there against the Coalition riders. So Barris' push has inadvertently made Ed like push pretty hard to get out there and catch up with them. So we're just following Ed here, and like Ed is having to push pretty hard. You can see them up on the horizon, like just a little past Ed, so not too far. Barris is now with Kelly and Peterson out there, and you can see Ed is catching up there a little bit. So that's good, and you can kind of see the other Coalition riders have backed off a little bit. Jill and Demir kind of sort of letting Ed sort of bridge between without trying to pull up there. So we can see in just a second Ed is going to go ahead and catch up to the rest of those riders. So Ed is now caught up, and so it's 2v2 at the front here. It's Ed and Barris with Kelly and Peterson there, and they've put about looks like about 8 seconds on the rest of the group. The other 6 riders are content to kind of hang off the back, kind of 8 to 10 seconds. But you got 2 Rhinos and 2 Coalition riders there. You see the rest of the group is kind of back there. So I'll sped it up a little bit here, but a couple of the Coalition riders, particularly Jill, they're going to start to push a little bit. They want to close that gap. They don't want to let those 4 riders like be too much off the front, and so they're going to start to close that gap, and the Rhinos are going to have to keep up there. And so you see the gap dropping there. Now it's 3 seconds. The Rhinos are going to kind of decide that like they don't want to expend a lot of energy on this little gap. So everyone's kind of falling back. The group is going to kind of coalesce back together here. So at this point, the riders have kind of come back together. All 10 riders are kind of in the group. They're still at a pretty flat part of the race. A couple of those 4 riders in the front did have to expend a lot of energy, particularly Ed. I see Kelly like drifting off the front a little bit, maybe pushing the pace a little bit, but not a whole lot to the pace here. It's kind of slowed down like quite a bit. Everyone is kind of content again to kind of just hang out in a single pack. This is going to go on for a little while. We're going to get to like one of the first like small climbs of the race. The group is still like staying together pretty tight there. You see some pretty decent outputs, but but the group is kind of staying together. We have a couple riders, pulling off the front like a little bit. You see the waterages are pulling up a little bit here. You're seeing like some 3s and 4s, like maybe people pushing into 5 a little bit. So a little bit of a push, but no one's really falling off the pace, and everyone's kind of staying with the group here. So at this point, it's kind of coming to the top of that hill. Everyone's still together. There's going to be a little bit of a downhill. It's going to push the pace a little bit, like as they come down the hill. But everyone's together, and no one's really pulling apart here. And you're going to see this just goes on for a while, like just nice even racing. These teams are pretty evenly matched. No one really has the advantage. Like no one's really trying to take advantage, like on this flat area. So it's going to kind of go until you kind of get to the base of the short climb, like at the beginning of the volcano here. There's going to be a little bit of a push, like as they come up here, kind of pushing the pace like a little bit. But again, like not a whole lot to separate these teams. They're really kind of staying together as they go to the top of this hill. You see the outputs like going up a little bit, but no one's really pushing hard enough to like try to create some separation. You see some gradients like up to about 5% there, but everyone's kind of hanging with the group. No one's trying to make that effort to put a gap on the other team. Now this just kind of brings up a long segment of this race where the teams are just kind of racing evenly. You're going to go through the volcano here. It's pretty flat, like a few like little gradients. I think both teams are kind of saving themselves up. They know the volcano KOM is coming up, so everyone's kind of saving themselves for the hills. I got a little chase here, like Kelly goes out a little bit, Greg reels him in. But it's no real attacks here. Everyone's kind of staying together. They know this big climb is coming up, so everyone's kind of like trying to figure out what to do on this climb. The coalition riders are a little bit lighter. They have some really good climbers. Now at this point we're getting to the start of this climb, and on this climb, so it's going to be, probably about a 10-minute climb here, 9-10 minutes. So it's going to be pretty aggressive, and so everyone's going to have to try to keep up. You're going to see now the gradients have gone up to 5% here. You can see the wattages really go up here. Start seeing outputs of like 4 watts per kilogram, like for a pretty consistent period of time. Everyone's kind of staying together here on the climb. The Rhinos are trying to be real careful not to fall off the back here because they know Coalition's a great team, has a lot of climbing power, and really don't want to be left behind in this climb. Also being a little bit cautious because they're sort of expecting there could be an attack on the climb here. At this point, everyone's kind of still together on the climb. Like the climb's going to get to kind of a little bit of a flatter part. There's a little flat segment here. Everyone's kind of still together. There's going to be a steeper part of the climb here a little bit after these kind of rollers down the middle. But everyone's still kind of keeping it reeled in. You see Demir and Jill like kind of out there at the front a little bit, but nobody's really putting a gap on anyone. And again, like just kind of reeling this in. Now the biggest part of the climb is coming up here, so you can really kind of expect an attack to come up. So everyone's kind of on their toes there. So now we're getting to the steepest part of this climb. Towards the end, you got some gradients like, near 5%. The group is all together here for the time being, but everyone's kind of anticipating an attack. So everyone's trying to stay, keep a little bit of energy so they don't get dropped on this hill here. All right, now we're getting to probably the most interesting part of the climb. It's the last little bit. It's the steepest part. You're going to see a couple of the coalition people start to push a little bit. You see someone dropping their draft there, but you see the coalition team is pushing a little bit. Several riders from Rhino are now following. You've got wattages in the 5 to 6 watts per kilo. You see the group like stretching out a little bit. Everyone's kind of making a push. If they can put a gap in the other team over the top here, it's going to put the other team at a pretty significant disadvantage. You see now here from the back, the line is like kind of stretching out a little bit. For the Rhinos, you've got Barris in the back. You've got Kelly, Demir, and Jill like in the back for Coalition, and ahead a little bit. You can see how stretched out it is at the front here. You see Winters and Peterson have put a little gap in at the front there. You see Matthew and Greg are following behind, but now at this point, like Demir, Jill are really falling behind here, and so you've kind of broken into three groups here. You've got a couple of coalition riders at the back who've kind of fallen off considerably a little bit. Two coalition riders at the front, and then kind of a cluster of Rhino riders in the middle there. And but you see pretty big gaps developing here. Now the coalition riders off the back are 8 seconds off of the main group in front, and then the coalition riders in the front are about 10 seconds in front of the Rhinos in the middle there. So this really sort of split this race wide open here. Here, if you go to the front, you see the two front coalition riders, Peterson and Winters, are really barreling down the hill here. They put about 8 seconds on Greg and about 10 to 15 seconds off of the rest of the Rhino riders. You see Super Tuck there, so he's really getting a big advantage coming down this hill. And so that's really doing good for these coalition riders in the front. Unfortunately, those three coalition riders off the back are now about 17, 18 seconds like off that middle pack. So we'll have to see how the Rhinos can regroup there, see if they can kind of get an attack on these front two coalition riders. So here now we're seeing three of the Rhino riders on the back here. You see Greg and Matthew are at the front. You've got Ed, Barris, and Jeff like off the back a little bit. You see a little bit of a gap between them. Greg is about 9 seconds in front, and Matthew, is kind of now sort of coalescing into the group of the other four Rhino riders who are going to kind of form into a group here. That's going to give them a sort of a big advantage, or at least having four people to work with. Greg is kind of trying to push forward to see if he can catch those other two riders. You see Barris here is with those four, and so we've got four Rhinos now and two coalition in front, and Greg is a little bit in no man's land there in the middle, trying to kind of push up. So we'll see if he can catch those two coalition riders in the front. So the four Rhinos in the middle there are now essentially doing a team time trial to see if they can catch up to Greg and the coalition riders. While meanwhile, Greg is kind of narrowing that gap. He's got the gap down to the two front riders down to 2 or 3 seconds. So he's really pushing to try to catch those guys. See if he can hang with them. Here you see him coming up there. You got the two coalition riders at the front. He's kind of narrowed that gap. They've been pulling pretty hard at the beginning there, and he's coming down the hill. So he's actually doing okay. So he's going to catch up to them. So he's done a nice job of catching them, kind of reeling them in. Kind of going to try to see what he can do to, to get first through third place, while the rest of the Rhinos are going to see if they can catch up to the rest of this group. There's only about maybe 3-4 kilometers left, though. They still have about a 15-16 second gap, so it could be a little bit hard to catch them. But they're going to see what they can do. So at this point, things are reaching a little bit of a steady state. We've got Greg out with 2 coalition riders in front. We've got 4 Rhino riders doing a team time trial in the middle, and then 3 coalition riders off the back. Greg's kind of doing what he can to stay with those guys, try to keep in the high points there. But at some point here, you're going to see from the middle, Bears is going to try to see if he can pull off the front. So Bears is like sort of putting in an effort here to try to get off the front of those Rhinos, see if he can pull that group forward. I think you can kind of see like a glimpse of them. Like he can barely see them at times. So he's kind of hopeful that he could get up there. He's kind of narrowed that gap to maybe 9 seconds, 8 seconds there for a little bit. Kind of putting out output, 4 or 5 watts per kilogram for a second. Kind of you see the other Rhinos kind of falling behind a little bit there. He's trying to see if he can get up on them. Unfortunately, the race is getting a little bit closer to the end here. So Bears is really making his best attempt, but he can't really seem to get the gap down to less than 7 or 8 seconds. He gets it down to maybe 6 here for a second, but he's been pushing pretty hard, and with the race getting down really to the last kilometer, he probably doesn't have it to reel them in. So he's going to kind of slow down and rejoin the 4 Rhinos in the middle here. So it looks like it's kind of coming down to it's going to be a sprint with Greg and the two coalition riders at the front here, then with the four Rhinos together behind. So we're down to about the last, I don't know, maybe 600-700 meters here. Greg is still doing okay with these guys. Like everybody's kind of sitting tight. Like they know there's the flat sprint coming here, so they can really feel the end line here. So let's see how the sprint turns out. Everyone's kind of together here. Finish line is pretty close. Like probably now at this point, like 300-400 meters. Right, he dropped the draft there, even though he's got no one in front of him. And then the coalition guys just really start pushing crazy numbers, like 16, 15, 10 watts per kilogram. Greg is doing his best here. He gets up to 9 or 10, but really just can't sort of hit that kind of sprint. Like, so really hats off to those coalition riders for putting down some just big sprint numbers to get across the finish line. 1-2 there, with Greg pulling in just behind them. The 4 Rhinos are together about 7-8 seconds behind them. All of them are pushing pretty hard to get across the line, but they really stayed together in a time trial. Overall, really good effort for the Rhinos here to come across like really as a team, to drop those 3 riders at the top of the KOM was really a great effort on their part, because they are at this point about 40-50 seconds behind and are going to come across here at the end. So in summary, how did things turn out? The Rhinos did really great. They did not get first or second, which those coalition riders locked up with a really tremendous sprint there at the beginning. But as a team, they really won the race 30-25, which really reflects a really strong effort of the middle riders there. Really great effort on that climb to drop those other riders, and ultimately those points in the middle was really what took the race for the Rhinos. It's a really strong effort from both teams. I think this is one of the best races I've seen in a long time from both teams. So really hats off to both teams for doing a great job there and really putting together a great race. So thanks for checking out the race, and hopefully we'll have more great action in the future.